Hey everyone, my name is Will, and I like to talk about music. Today I'm going to be doing a review of the latest album from Charli xcx, Brat. This is the latest album from singer-songwriter Charli xcx, an artist who has had a very noteworthy evolution over the past few years that I think is necessary to discuss before I even get into the content of this latest album. I first remember hearing her music on the radio just about a decade ago with the songs such as Boom Clap off of her album Sucker back in 2014. However, a lot has changed since then for Charli's style and aesthetic, as we have seen her venture into sounds that are a bit more experimental, you could say. This can be seen on her album from 2019 titled Charli, which embraces a sound that has been labeled as hyperpop and electropop. This latest album continues to embrace an electropop sound, but it is fair to say that it may not be trying to break the boundaries of mainstream pop as much as some of her other work has. On this record, Charli is giving her fans an album to dance to. This thing is meant to be blasted in the club and at parties. But with all that being said, I still find the writing on this thing to be extremely thoughtful and personal throughout, with Charli discussing things like her insecurities and relationships as well. Take the track Sympathy as a Knife, for example. Despite this being one of the more upbeat and dance-centric cuts off the record, it is actually quite heavy lyrically, as Charli delves into her own insecurities with her public image. The title alone explains her relationship with receiving sympathy, as she believes it's coming from an artificial and fake place, so it really just becomes painful for her. This feeling is also present in the visceral production and cutting synthesizers in the instrumental. Apple sees Charli delivering a track with a smooth dance beat while also thoughtfully musing over her relationships as well as starting a family. I find it intriguing how she continues to juxtapose these upbeat tracks with dense lyrical topics. Everything is romantic as a love song with an impressively cinematic execution. Charli puts the listener into this endless cycle of love in multiple phases. The first opens up the cut with this luscious introduction with strings, and then it transitions back into that electropop style with the pulsating beats, and then it finishes with the repetition of the line falling in love again and again over a beautiful instrumental saturated with grand synth tones. Back to Back is quite similar to Everything Is Romantic in the way that it is based upon a structure that is purely cyclical, referencing something in the lyrics, repeating itself again and again. It's definitely one of the choruses that will just burn its way into your brain as well as you listen to it. Talk Talk is one of the lighter, more upbeat cuts off the record, led by intricate layers of vibrant synthesizers and electronic effects. It makes some reference to a secret relationship and perhaps some sort of disconnect in the relationship due to a lack of communication as well. And then Girls So Confusing is yet another song that deals with insecurities and confusion in relationships. Charli references a person who does not really have too much in common with her at all, but is still willing to give this a shot because opposites might attract. The dance-centric songs in the record are contrasted with moments that are directly softer and more melancholic in their approach, both musically and lyrically. Case in point, I Might Say Something Stupid is one of the more scant tracks instrumentally. It only consists of melancholic beds of synthesizers and very light percussion in the background, but it acts as a continuation of the themes present on Sympathy is a Knife, as it deals with insecurities. It feels like this scene where Charli is in the bathroom at a party and looking at herself in the mirror, if you really read into the lyrics. At a couple of points, Charli even questions whether she belongs here anymore, either questioning her place in the world as a whole or at some sort of party that she is alluding to in the track. Something about this track feels incomplete on the first few listens, but as I keep listening to the record, it feels somewhat impactful despite it not saying too much, and it also flows pretty smoothly into the following track, Talk Talk, which is more uplifting. I think some of this disconnect is probably due to the very dramatic cutoff that the track goes for as well. Similar to this, the penultimate track, I think about it all the time, is a short thought bubble that is vulnerable in its approach, as Charli discusses her thoughts about becoming a mother. There's constantly references that she feels that time is running out and it has to start soon. So I is an incredibly beautiful and unique tribute to another artist, perhaps one of the most beautiful I've really ever heard. It's not only praising the beloved music producer Sophie, who Charli has worked with in the past, but it's also about Charli recognizing her own shortcomings as a friend. I just find it to be both lyrically and musically stunning in every way, from the simplistic and melancholic chord progression to Charli asking herself why she pushed Sophie away. So yeah, there are a lot of tracks on here that will make you want to dance, while the next moment you might hear something that will make you want to cry. In this respect, this album is truly an emotional roller coaster. There are a few lighter moments, though, on the record that contrast well with the heaviest songs, such as the opener 360. On 360, Charli is investing the listener into the project by assessing her current place in the music industry. On this track, she recognizes the people that have helped her get where she is as an artist, while also taking pride in her influence. I think my favorite line on the track is when she asks, "When you're looking in the mirror, do you like what you see?" And then she follows this with, "When you're looking in the mirror, you're just looking at me." Not only is this chorus extremely catchy and memorable, but it's just so evident how many people are constantly trying to copy Charli's sound and aesthetic in this day and age. As you can guess from the title, Club Classics is a track that is specifically made for the dance floor, with its driving beats, glistening synthesizers, and repetitive vocal lines. Similar to the opening cut, Charli continues to shout out names of other artists with lines such as "I want to dance to AG" and "I want to dance to Sophie." Von Dutch is an incredibly fun club rager filled with escalating synthesizers and bass lines. Charli continues to assert herself and take pride in her impressive trajectory in the current wave of pop music. Rewind is another simple but powerful piece of songwriting where Charli continues to think about her insecurities and now looks at them in a different perspective, now wishing that she could go back in the past to escape them. The instrumental also contains these record scratches throughout, as if to symbolize this notion as well. Mean Girl consists of one of the most compelling instrumental palettes, with those relentless synthesizers that is like the electronic equivalent to an intense bed of electric guitars in a rock song, to the groovy piano breakdowns toward the second half. And then on the closer, 365, Charli takes the material from the opening track 360 up a few notches to give us this druggy and explosive finish. It essentially shifts up 360 in pitch and tempo, while also throwing in some inclusions of acid bass as well. It's both a fun way to wrap up the album and also something that symbolizes that though life can be filled with these tough decisions, insecurities, just tough times in general, we can all still get through it on the dance floor. It's really just pushing through all these things in style. In a way, it's just saying we carry on. Because it is not perfection that makes the attitude that Charli portrays in this album so cool. It's the ability that she's able to combat some dense topics lyrically that show vulnerability, while also still providing the listener with a musical atmosphere that seems rooted in the life of the party. I think that this juxtaposition is one of the most important things that make this new album from Charli so awesome. It's also a record so constantly focused in sound, style, performances, and production. There's not a moment when this thing is not completely sure of the emotions, the vibes that it wants to portray. Charli is definitely proving that she is deserving of the very important and influential place that she has in pop music and in the music industry with this latest album, Brat. And I highly, highly recommend it. It is absolutely up to the hype. With that being said, I'm feeling a 10 on this latest Charli xcx album. But what do you think about this album? Do you love it? Are you not so crazy about it? Let me know in the comments below. Would you like to see any other musical content on this channel? Is there any other albums you would like me to review? Let me know. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Will's Music Review, and I'll see you in the next video.